Are we supposed to be talking about your brother, bro? You're just geeking out about my sword? Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka GeekXX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to Sword of the Demon Hunter. We're now on to episode 5. So the last episode, we had the conclusion of a 2-episode arc where Jinya was in a place where there was a demon that was chopping up men and kidnapping women, and he met another demon who was living amongst the humans like a human, was peaceful for the most part, wasn't hurting anyone, and he had a vested interest in also finding this demon because this demon had killed his wife. So to make a long story short, they did find the demon, and they also found out the source of what caused this demon to become, which was rather sad. But in the end, you know, everyone kind of found peace, and Jinya, you know, unfortunately, he felt a bit sad about how it all wrapped up, but in the end, he got some very valuable skills. We also learned that Jinya can literally absorb the skills of demons, so that kind of explains what he's been doing over the last 10 years that we skipped over. It looks like he was killing demons and taking the powers that he felt would be useful to him. So yeah, homie's trying to get himself pretty OP'd because he realizes that when the day comes, Suzume is not going to be a joke. So yeah, I'm ready to get into the next episode and see what our next adventure is. So let's do that. But just before I do, a reminder that if you'd like to be in the know when I drop episodes, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. And also, if you'd like to see uncut versions of this reaction, you can check that out on my Patreon right now. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now. This is immediately giving me Demon Slayer vibes. The episode with the girls. In fairness, I actually don't know which manga came first, if it was Demon Slayer or this one. I know this one's pretty old too. Not old, but established, so I don't know. I'm sure we're gonna come back to the significance of that song. Which is? I mean, he did ask. That doesn't necessarily... Yeah. Oh, he's saying he certainly had one. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I thought he was going to say that he was skipped. His older brother was skipped over for a reason. But it looks like his brother was turned into an urban legend. Oh, maybe a demon did that. He can't if he knows something's true. The love's poking his nose. He gets hired, sir. I mean, I guess you could think of it as an exorcism. That might be the good word. You've heard. Devil, what an interesting turn of phrase. He's like, just what the best thing I like to eat that's in the area. That's really it. He doesn't know how to be tactful. Okay, look at that. He knows how to soften it up. Oh, that's right. I forgot how shaky she was the first day. No, I can't really talk about it directly. Right, like, didn't you tell me to talk to him? Before you guys start nerding out on botany. Occupies himself with rumors. Maybe that isn't the best way to put it, but okay. Thank you. A little more direct. Maybe. Ah, yes. Didn't even eat a soba. I'll eat it. But he's not wrong. He's not really a mystic. Okay, so now he went missing. Is that all? But I have a feeling it actually is going to lead to a demon. But I get what he's saying. Like, he's not really someone who deals with mystical stuff per se. He's like very specific. Oh! Congratulations. I mean, he does love you down.
十三殿としても彼となら安心できると思うが。
And he's protected you. I mean, he is a little weird because he's known you since you were not of age. She likes you, I have a feeling, even though you're old enough to be her dad. Yeah, while we're talking about it. I don't know if that's going to be possible.
31だ。
Yeah, too old for you. He's half demon. But he kept telling you that. It's kind of a long, very sad story.
私にもよくわからん。なぜこんなことをしているのか。
Don't you? That's exactly what the shop owner's daughter said too. Okay. Yeah, just a person. That sounds very much like something Suzume would have said. As a baby, Suzume, not demon Suzume.
兄を探すのに遊郭や貧民窟にまで足を踏み入れているそうです
I
ね。
mean, it's not that crazy of a place to start looking.
それが何ですか、あなたと言ったら。
兄が見つかれば出入りをやめます。失礼します。
You said get out my business! Not the storming off. Do what I want, Mom! You're ruining my life! But truthfully, if he genuinely thinks he remembers something and people are telling him that he doesn't remember it, that would be the worst feeling, right? No one wants to feel like they're going crazy.
その考えは理解できる。しかし、だからといって己の意志を曲げる。
Wait a minute. Tisa's name is Mura. Why is she calling him Animori?
探しに行くのか。
Hi. Me again. Snuck up like a demon.
しがないろう。
ええ、構いません。私の言葉を信じてくださる。
I don't know about that.
早速で悪いが、三浦殿の兄が消える前の様子を教えてほし
Yeah, give me a little background.
い。ならば。
Come to my. Why did he stop that sentence? Is it because he's a Ronin and he can't bring him in the house?
もしや故郷は角野ですか。
よくわかったな。
いえ、
I don't think there's a lot of blacksmith towns in this area.
小塚なもので刀剣の類を見聞するのが趣味なのですよ。
Okay, you can't have my sword.
刀は、
ゆえあって譲り受けた。
おお、名はなんと。
Oh yeah, it does
や
look
らい
familiar.
という。
やらい。やらいですか。角野の。
Are we supposed to be talking about your brother, bro? You're just geeking out about my sword?
千年の時を経ても朽ち果てぬ冷凍とは言っていたが。
それは。ところで抜いてみせてくれたりは。
千。
Right? Like, focus.
さすがに話が。
A little bit. Calm down. Wipe your chin.
始めてくれ。
なんでここでそんな重要そうな話を。密談をするのは人のあまり来ない場所でって相場が決まってると思うんですが。
Why are y'all here?
など
結構辛辣ですね、旦那。
He's
それ
just
は
blunt.
冗談として。二人とも随分と三浦殿を心配してい
Right? It's like y'all eavesdropping anyway.
確か兄はいなくなる少し前に言っていました。娘に会いに行くと。
An Oni?
兄の部屋に花がありました。
Wisteria.
花には疎いもので名前はわからないのです
Oh,
が。
we've got a plant expert right here.
悪いが明日三浦殿の屋敷に案内してもらいたい。
Yeah, I remember hearing things about like samurai not having a lot of respect for Ronin back in the day. But I mean, he's not a traditional Ronin, so maybe it won't be a problem.
幾日か前に少しな。
おふう、おめもも。
Dan said if you want to catch up, you better start getting close. This man is not looking for girls.
まあ、刀のことになると目の色が変わっちまいますがね。
That's true, he is a sword nerd.
ちょっと見たことがあるくらいですけどね。まあ、おっかないお人で、普段からも結構うるさ
She
い。
seems the type.
この公害もらってくれませんか。
Why?
それは三浦殿からの贈り物だろう。
Right? Listen, this is a father-in-law dowry gift. Calm down.
しかし、
これは俺にはもう必要ないんです。
Anymore.
だからどうか。
He's trying to bribe you into being his son-in-law. You realize that, right?
オフ。三浦殿が言っていた黄色い。
Right? Why didn't you check? That was your turn to pipe in last night.
できれば推薦でない方がいいが。
What's wrong with daffodils? For real, they're not my favorite flower, but I didn't think it was that bad. Oh, right, singing girl.
幼い私が過ごした日だまり。でも
White mist.
もう帰る道はなくなった。
That white mist looks a lot like what they use in, or what they showed whenever a demon was vanquished. That was a very weird place to stop, by the way. But I mean, we started with the singing girl, we ended with the singing girl. So yeah, I mean, even though our guy says that everything is, you know, demon related or not, I mean, I get it. Like Jinya, he's simple, but not in the sense of like not being smart. Like he just kind of tends to be very linearly thinking from what I can see. And obviously he's learned a lot about demon lore and about, you know, kind of that world. But obviously I think in a world like this, there's probably a lot more things. Like we've only seen demons, obviously, but I think there's probably things like spirits and ghosts and probably some level of sorcery. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so, right? Because the demon back in episode 1, I believe, used some type of magic, didn't you? Oh no, that was a power she intrinsically had. Never mind. So I don't know. Point is, in almost all the lore I've seen around these types of things, a lot of the demons have some form of magic that they're able to use in some way, right? Because even with Suzune, the fact that she was able to de-age herself to have the look of this child and maintain that form for decades, you know, like that's not an easy thing to do. So anyways, my guess is that potentially the brother was kidnapped by someone, because he said he went to see a girl. We saw a girl at the beginning. She's singing, seemingly very innocent, seems very sweet, but she's singing a song that, let's face it, sounds eerie as hell. She's bouncing this ball. And as I said, it reminds me so much of Demon Slayer when they did that whole thing with the girl singing the song and playing. It just, I feel like this is, I mean, it's definitely, I think, a cultural thing in Japan, kind of thing with the songs, etc. But just kind of that whole look and the feel of it very much reminded me of that. But anyway, I think they were trying to show us that it's not supposed to be just any old girl who's bouncing around a ball in that moment. Something is going on. And now we see with the girl at the end, because in the beginning, everything was kind of misty, but I thought that maybe, because mist could represent memories or dreams, so I didn't think much of it. But now in the end shot, we see that the mist was actually forming into what looked like waves. And so maybe a spell or something, or potentially demon ashes, one or the other. But no, actually, no, the plumes from the demon were very cloud-like, so maybe not. Maybe this is something else. I'm thinking maybe some kind of magic, and it's possible that this demon is a child. Like, all the demons we've seen thus far have been hideous, to be fair, but with the exception of Suzune and then that one that Jinya first killed, the one that protected her, they both were more human-like or human-looking than not. So again, we haven't seen the whole plethora of the demon world here. So I'm just wondering if maybe this is a demon, but not the type that we're used to seeing in this so far, and that she's not all disfigured. Or maybe she is, but maybe she doesn't look all disfigured and crazy. Like maybe she actually looks like a little girl, and that's part of her lure. And potentially this guy's brother, Miura's brother, went to go, maybe he thought he was saving this girl or protecting her, and it was really a demon's trap, and now he's gone. And maybe part of her magic is that anyone who ever knew him forgot about him or can't quite remember him. Because that's my guess, is that, you know, like he said, there's some people that he talked to in the town who said that they have a vague memory, but then they say, well, no, you know, you're the only kid that's ever been. So it feels like a spell, is what I'm saying. It feels like some level of spell or some type of work that maybe a demon can do to make people, again, maybe not forget. I guess it is. They kind of just erased him from the existence of all the people who ever knew him. But for whatever reason, it didn't take to Mura. Maybe because Mura's connection to his brother was so deep it couldn't be destroyed. But even then, we see that Mura is saying that it comes and goes in ways that even he starts to doubt himself. So interesting. Maybe the spell still trying to work on him. But anyway, it feels like there's definitely uncanniness afoot. So Jinya deciding to take it, which is very interesting. He's getting very close to this shop owner and her daughter, we can see. And again, I think, you know, the shop owner is very much trying to marry Ofu off. And it's very clear that Ofu also has a crush. When it comes to Jinya, I'm very curious, though, because he said when Natsu asked him about the marriage thing, which, I mean, it's kind of creepy. She's 16, and I know that at the time 16 was the age of marriage, but it's still creepy. Especially the fact that he's more than twice her age. You know, when she was asking him about it, and he said that, you know, not a lot of people want to marry a Ronin without steady work, right? And it wasn't really a, I don't want a wife. He didn't really say, no, I'm not looking. But he was also saying, like, I'm not good marriage material either. And most families would never allow their child to marry me. And I mean, obviously, I think Natsu's got a fat crush on him and has ever since she was young. But my biggest issue, like I said, is I didn't realize Zenji was like only, she said he's older than Zenji, so I don't know how old Zenji is, but my guess he's probably in his mid-20s, is what I'm guessing. I'm telling you, the haircut always throws me off, because I know that there's young people who have it, but it's just like, the haircut throws me off with how old these people are supposed to be. But if I was to guess, Zenji's probably only got maybe about 5-6 years, and actually no, he was an adult, and that was 3 years ago, and she would have been 13. So yeah, I was right, maybe mid-20s. I'm thinking that, you know, Zenji's maybe 25, 26. But, you know, still a little old, but sadly that would have been a common age matchup between two people unless you had two noble families, in which case they're trying to just solidify the family union, in which case that's, you sometimes would see like two 16-year-olds or two 17-year-olds getting married, but digressing. So I think with Jinya, it's an interesting thing that he's got two girls who are interested in him. I mean, very typical anime stuff to have, you know, the lead character having all the harem falling in love with him. But I think what's interesting with Jinya is that, I mean, his first love that he'd had since he was a child was murdered just brutally in front of him. I mean, it was over 10 years ago now, but you know, it really is the driving force for everything that he does, right? Jinya is on this mission. Like, it's very funny that when Natsu asked him why he does this job, he said he's not sure, but he does know. And I get why he doesn't want to share that, right? Because it's kind of he'd have to get into what he is, and I don't think he wants anyone to know what he is that's human, because they would automatically, you know, associate him with all the other demons. But I also just think that he's just not ready. You know, I don't really think that that death it's such a driving force for what he's doing and where he's going, and his obsession with finding his sister, that I don't think it's going to leave room in his heart for anyone romantically. And yeah, I don't know, but it's an interesting thought though, because it is a lonely life, right? And we've heard both Ofu and Natsu have both made comments about the fact that you seem dry and broody and distant, and we're just scared that that's all you are, because they see that Jinya clearly has a very, like they said, he's got a big heart. They know that he's got a kind heart, he's got a kind aura and spirit. No one feels uncomfortable around him, despite the fact that he's kind of broody looking and quiet, although I'm sure the pretty privilege helps a lot. But yeah, they're all like, we want you to have more to your life than just this, right? You can't just live for demon slaying. But yeah, I do wonder, you know, I don't know, I'm just kind of curious as to why they're bringing these girls into his life in this way. I mean, I think it's good for him to have connections again, because, you know, Suzune gone, the man who was his father figure gone, the love of his life gone, so he really hasn't had any deeper emotional connections for a while. And it's not a bad thing for him to have those feelings again, but of course it is always a risk with his sister out there to connect himself with anyone, right? Because that definitely could be used against him. But anyways, it's very interesting that both the girls came to the conclusion that he needs to lighten up. But Jinya, we've seen, ever since Jinya was a kid though, he's always been on the serious side, and that probably has to do with his upbringing, you know, growing up in the household he did and everything. But anyway, he decided to take on this case because Ofu and her dad basically begged him, and he's got a soft spot for them. So that's why he's doing it. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to lead him to something crazy. And if it is in fact a demon that's able to alter memories, I mean, that's kind of a crazy skill to pick up for Jinya, to be honest. Because listen, that could be like, if he ever does have to expose his demon side to a human or a handful of humans, and he doesn't want them to like have to worry about them saying anything, that power is absolutely like clutch, right? He'd be able to just wipe his existence from their memory, or the fact that they met or anything they saw. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a crackpot theory maybe, but I'm thinking that could be pretty good if that's the case of what it is. But yeah, that's kind of where we're starting. Looks like we're doing another multi-episode arc with this one as well. So I look forward to seeing how it all wraps up. But I enjoyed this. I hope that you enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I will see you in the next one.